Hi everyone, I'm Sheila Hogan and I am I suppose you can call me a businesswoman, entrepreneur, I suppose. Moved from Yorkshire to Edinburgh and have had a challenge with my weight since I was a child, really. And yeah, and I found the second nature. I've tried every diet you could think of over the years. I've moved from, I suppose my lowest weight is probably about 10 and a half stone up to 17 stone. And I've probably done that around 4 or 5 times in my lifetime. And then last year, I was nearing the end of my 50s. I was turning 60 in January this year, and I thought I have to do something different. I cannot do this again. Every time I would lose this weight, I would say, I'm not putting it on again. And then suddenly, before I know it, I'm back up to more or less 17 stone. So last year, I was exploring lots of stuff, and I kind of thought, I've got to do something. My health was suffering. I'd had a fall. I'd fallen over. I'd had an X-ray, found out I had arthritis in my knee. That was bad. I'd had some blood tests that came back and said I was pre-diabetic, and my cholesterol was sky high. And I just felt generally just pretty unwell because of the weight, and my digestive system too actually was completely in overdrive. It wasn't functioning properly, and I was under a consultant for that. And I started to explore, well, what can I do? I know I've got to do something different, but I can't do another fad diet. I just cannot do that kind of thing. Whatever I do, it has to be by eating normal food, and it has to be for the rest of my life now. I do not want to go through this cycle again. And so that's when I started exploring. I did look into bariatric surgery because I thought that might be, the only option, but that felt very scary, very drastic. I'm not a lover of anesthetic at the best of times, and yeah, and also, the cost was prohibitive too. And then I came across an article. I follow Oprah Winfrey, and I came across an article where Oprah had been, very transparent about the fact she looked absolutely fantastic, and she was transparent about the fact that she'd been using the weight loss medication. I'm not sure what they call it out in the States, but it was certainly a GLP-1 hormone-based medication using semaglutide. So yeah, and I thought, well, if Oprah's done it, right, she's suffered with a weight all her life. If Oprah's done it, and I can manage to, try and afford it and source it from a reliable source that I feel confident in, then I'm gonna look into this. So that's when I actually came across Second Nature, and although you can get it on the market at much lower cost these days, what really gave me the confidence to go for it was the fact that Second Nature was backed by the NHS for other programs, and they were based in the UK. I felt like I could be confident that whatever medication I received was definitely bona fide, and met all the medical criteria and conditions, and that's when I applied, if you like, and did the assessment with Second Nature.
Amazing. Thank you, Sheila. And when you thought about coming to Second Nature, I know you said because we're backed by the NHS, that was one of the big things.
Mm.
Did it ever cross your mind to go and take the medication without having any sort of behavior change support?
No, because I mean the whole underlying thing for me on this is that it has to be sustainable. Now that I didn't want a get slim quick fix. I mean, I'd done them in the past. This wasn't about that for me. This time, my mindset was, I don't care how long it takes to get it off. as long as it stays off for the rest of my life. So
Mm,
it underlying in that mindset was, um, you know, it's not just about the medication, it's about me and
absolutely.
my behaviors and my habits, and actually sustaining those behaviors and habits long term. That is
Mm,
the key to this. So no,
yeah, and it's
I
often the
didn't,
hardest
Gemma.
part as well, is sustaining
Well,
those
I've
habits,
never
isn't it?
cracked it, you see. I mean, so, yet I have
Mm,
not, I have to say, I was okay, I was good at actually sticking to a diet for a length of time to actually get the weight off, but
mm.
I never seemed to be able to sustain it. It was always
What kind of habits do you think, like what flagged up for you? Is there this like specific with sleep or stress or anything that springs to mind?
stress was a good one. I've always been a bit of a comfort eater, and it's always
Mm,
been, it's always comfort food too.
of
Carbs,
course.
lots of carbs, sugar, those starchy foods, those kind of things. And those kind of things just, I know for certain those kind of things don't agree with my digestive
Mm.
system, and they immediately, put on weight for me. I am pretty, over, it's got worse as I've got older actually, but I am very, you know, sugar and carb sensitive. Um, now
Are these
I
habits that you've changed since being on the medication?
well, no, because I had been on things like Atkins and that before. So I've
Mm,
always been, I've always been a bit kind of carb sensitive. And I knew that was definitely the thing that would put me on weight. But the trouble is, if I kind of fell off the wagon, which you know, we everyone does, right? There might be a trigger that would kind of like push me off my kind of like, my kind of weight loss journey or whatever. There'd be something that would happen, like a holiday or, a few nights out that, where I'd kind of binged or, or
mm,
drunk too much. And then I had to kind of feed the hangover with all the carbs and stuff like that. So there might have been something like that that might trigger it.
mm.
And then it just felt so hard to get back to it, and sometimes it'd be there might be just a little thing, and a couple of days turned into weeks, and that turned into months, and then suddenly I'm back and I've got the 6 stone on again.
Yeah, it's true. And I think people often think it happens overnight, but these habits, they can be so small that they happen so gradually. As you said, sometimes you don't even realize it's happening until you realize it's happened. So yeah, that's really, really interesting. And I do wonder as well, since you've been on the injections, how do you think this has played a role in comfort eating and those habits in particular? And do you think if you compare that to maybe fad diets you've been on in the past, what's the difference there for you? And do you think that you can maintain that for the long term?
So just in terms of to take those two things kind of separately, the first one, the difference I think that the medication makes um is it just removes all that food noise and hunger.
Mm,
And I don't, you know, I I don't. Well, in the early days, I suppose I am a bit more now, but I didn't even think about food. Wasn't looking. I mean, whereas without the medication, and the whole kind of concept of how the medication works really resonated with me as well because, I mean, I've got friends who are naturally slim and have always been naturally slim, right?
mm,
And it's obvious there is something different about my biological setup that is very different to theirs. And I don't just think it is habits. I do genuinely believe there's some underlying shortage for me of the GLP-1 hormone, or my
mm,
my body generating enough of it, or whatever's happened. Maybe
mm,
it's because I've done these big yo-yo diets over the years, and I've wrecked that kind of biological system for me, right? But the actually getting that hormone into my system just took away the whole, always looking for food, the food noise constantly in my head. What am I going to eat next? What do you want? What you want? Do you want to go? You need to go get some of this. You need to go get some of that. Oh, look at that cake's shouting at you over there. What about some crisps? What about this? And it just felt like constant, and even and the amount as well of food that I ate was way too much. I didn't seem to have that kind of like my naturally slim like friends would say,
Yeah.
"Oh God, I'm full." Well, I wasn't full till I'd finished my plate, right?
Mm.
It didn't matter how much I'd eaten, right? I would, now maybe that's habit from growing up in that kind of household. You've got to eat everything on your plate, kind of thing. But yeah, so it's a very different on the medication because you just can't eat, and you don't
Mm.
want to eat the volumes that you previously ate. It's same um with drinking alcohol. I mean, I love a drink. I love red wine. It's my forte, right? But I still have it, right? I still have red wine. Um, I often have a wee beer as well, actually, sometimes. But I just cannot, I just couldn't drink the volume that I used to drink at all.
Mm.
I would be really ill if I did. And it's fine, and if I go on a big night out, I know where my limit is. I know when I've had enough and I drink water then. But I've had a really good time and I don't feel deprived because
And that's
I've
the
had
most
everything.
important thing, right? That is the most
That
important
is it.
thing for
That is
sure.
it. So in terms of, so that's the kind of, that's what's been different for me. It's made healthy eating choices and changing my diet because now I'm attracted to different foods as well, right? I've
Interesting. What kind of
yeah.
foods?
So I have big cravings for avocado. I eat quite lot more
Oh,
avocado
we
than I
love an
used to. I
avocado.
do love avocado. I eat a lot more. I eat a lot. See, the other thing as well was I had a lot of crooked thinking going on. So I was either on a diet or I wasn't, right?
Mm.
So, and if I wasn't on a diet, then you wouldn't see me eating salads or fruit or, you know, it would be
It's like one or
everything.
the other.
Yeah, it would be everything that's not good for you, right?
Mm.
Whereas now I eat what I feel like eating, but most of the time, what I feel like eating is good, healthy, nutritional food. I eat lots
Mm.
of green vegetables. I mean, I did the habits from the Second Nature program of the protein and the vegetables and the portions of those things. Um, I don't tend to eat. I tend to try and not eat much carbs because I know how sensitive I am to them. So I do cut back on the carbs side. But in terms of protein and vegetables, I eat that is generally, what I eat. A lot of the time. And I do eat a lot of greens. So even if I'm having um, a salad, no, not a salad full, but a sandwich or something, a slice of, I like sourdough bread now. I don't eat
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
we love
like
sourdough.
normal bread. So I might have
Mm.
a slice of sourdough toast with some chicken, but I always pile on some green, like spinach or
Add that little sprinkle
rocket.
of balance in there.
Yeah, yeah. So that there's some kind of green in and vegetable in every meal. It's the same if we have a curry, right? I wouldn't have rice now, but I'd have broccoli rice with it,
Mm.
and things like that. So yeah, my taste buds have changed, and I'm not saying I don't eat the things that I used to, but it's just I don't fancy them much anymore, right? It's like,
Mm.
a pizza, for example. Well, I might have, if my husband's having pizza, I might have a slice of pizza, but I'm not really a lover of it anymore. It doesn't, it's
Interesting.
not,
Also, if
yeah.
you're making changes to your diet, it may well be that your taste buds have adapted and those cravings that you may have had for those foods before have kind of lessened. Actually, I was wondering, as you were saying that, you're talking about the food noise and you said about the food noise now. How is that now? Do you still notice that pop up at
I
all
don't have a
or
food noise anymore. I don't have a
wow.
food noise. The only time I get, food noise is actually when
Mm,
I'm hungry. When I'm hungry.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I'm hungry
Yeah.
a lot less than than I ever used to be. I believe now my kind of like my system has regulated, and I feel hungry when I'm genuinely hungry, when my body needs some sustenance. Some
Of
days that,
course.
I do try and do a bit of intermittent fasting as well. So, during the week, if I go to the gym in the morning, that kind of like fends off kind of hunger until probably lunchtime.
Mm.
So I probably have a brunch kind of meal at lunchtime. Um, so I do that. That's a kind of an intermittent fasting thing for me if I don't eat until after 12 o'clock. Um, but yeah, I'm just attracted to different things. I mean, a few weeks ago we went out for dinner with some family, and it was just burgers and fish and chips and pies and things like that. And so I didn't fancy much, but I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm going to have fish and chips. I'm going to have fish chips and mushy peas, right? I'm had it for ages. I'm going to have some of that. Now I didn't eat it all because I was full before I ate it, but oh my goodness,
I was
I
gonna say, did you
suffered.
enjoy it? Oh,
No. Well, I
really?
suffered so
Oh
bad
no.
all night. Oh, I had really bad tummy trouble and bad indigestion. And then after that, I thought, oh no, I'm not eating that again. Right. And I just
Mm.
felt terrible. Um,
Interesting. I wonder if
eating
that's
it.
because your body had not been used to that kind of food for a while. It's
Maybe,
almost like, yeah, I
maybe.
wonder, like, Jen, do you notice that when you're coaching members on the program that they have changes like that with their diet?
I'm ever so sorry. My daughter's just started crying. So if you can hear that,
Oh.
I'm very sorry. But I always feel like I have this feeling like on the BBC when it was lockdown and that like kid comes in and then the mum comes in afterwards. No, always happens. They always say never work with children and pets, and that's usually what happens here.
Look, these things that we were saying this before we went live, that sometimes the show has got to go on. You can't do anything. But I hope she's okay. If you need to go and
Oh
tend to
no,
her, it's
honestly, she's
absolutely fine.
absolutely fine. But sorry, were you just talking about kind of like reactions to food and stuff?
Yeah, just as a coach, when you're coaching members who are on the medication supported program, what Sheila was talking about in terms of, she's changed her diet slightly, like she's eating more, nutritious food. When you do eat foods that, are a bit more like takeaway kind of foods, do you notice that people have any issues with digestion when it comes to that?
Oh, completely, yeah, because the medication basically slows down the gastric emptying, and the main symptoms are basically nausea, and you can get diarrhea as well. So if you think about your majority of the time, you're eating kind of like unprocessed foods, ones that kind of like aren't high in fats or oils, sugar or salt, and all of a sudden you're consuming that and probably in a large amount in quantity, like the digestive system is going to go into overdrive, especially if it's like trying to slow it down. So one of the reasons why we say for people to be mindful of the foods that they have, especially if they eat out, purely because of the side effects that it can cause. And I think you made a really good point here, the fact that actually you start to crave the healthier foods because your body knows that it's safe. So it's almost a little bit like a lot of people liken it to like pregnancy nausea and pregnancy sickness because the body is very good at knowing what it needs. So yeah, it's quite common, and exactly what you said about alcohol as well. Like the amount of people that don't have the desire to drink alcohol as they used to because they know either psychologically or the placebo effect or whatever that can cause weight gain, but it can also cause your blood sugar to reduce. So it's almost as if our brain and our body knows actually, I want to make these lifestyle changes, like permanent lifestyle changes. So I'm going to be mindful of these. But I think it was great what you said, the fact that you're going to have a little bit and you're going to enjoy it. So you're not going to deprive yourself. And actually, you can enjoy those occasions without having to like overindulge, if you will.
Mm,
So yeah,
perfect.
There
Thank
was
you,
a
Jem.
second part to the question, Gemma, about maintenance. You need.
Yes. So just in terms of maintenance, and it's funny because we've actually had a question that's come through about that, where someone's asked about how much weight you've lost over what time frame, and if you've had any plateaus, because I think it all feeds into the same sort of thing of just, how well do you think you'll be able to maintain the loss that you've made with the habits that you've made so far. So if we could just scale that back a bit. So if we start off by just talking about how much weight you've lost and over what time frame, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. So I started just 0.1 of a pound short of 17 stone in August last year. And I am now just 0.1 of a pound off 6 stone.
Wow.
And in terms, so that's what, is that 16 months maybe where I've got to? I was, and at first the weight, I mean, a big chunk came off the first couple of months. You know, I'd probably lost 2 stone before, what, two, maybe 3 stone before Christmas. As I came into my, um, no, not three. No, I'm just trying to gauge. Yes, 3 stone. When I got to my 60th birthday in January, I was around 14 stone. So I'd lost near on 3 stone by that point in time. And it was kind of, it was sort of averaging out because there were Christmas in between. I'd kind of like, I'd done things that I probably wouldn't not do over Christmas. I went on holiday for a week in January for my birthday and things like that. So, but I was kind of like, I was okay about that. It was because for me, this is the long term thing. It wasn't about how fast I lose it, and it's okay. I think I put a couple of pounds back on my holiday and over Christmas and things like that. So, but I was, confident and comfortable about that. And then so there were quite a big chunk came off quite quickly, and then it kind of averaged out this year into around um, maybe half a stone. Well, no, a stone a quarter for some
Because
time.
your body just starts to get used to the weight loss, and it also
Yeah.
starts to fight against you. It's like it almost doesn't want you to lose the weight.
Well, I joined a gym in January as well, actually. So I've been kind of like gaining muscle, right? Because I've been doing weight
Amazing.
training and things like that. So I've been gaining muscle and stuff and exercising. So my body shape has drastically changed. In terms of and how I feel physically has drastically changed. So the weight slowed down to maybe about a stone a quarter. And then now, right? So I hit my original target back in probably August, and then I went on holiday and put some back on, right? But
Very, very
so
normal.
I know. So my original target was 11 and a half stone, and I felt like I would feel slim at 11 and a half stone, and I did. However, I just felt like, do you know what? For the first time in my adult life, I want to be a healthy BMI, right? And I know it's a kind of like it's a bit of an arbitrary measure, and there's a lot of controversy, I suppose, around it. But at 11 and a half stone, I was still uh, over 27 BMI. I was under 30, which is great, but in my app and everything, it still said I was overweight. And I kind of thought, I don't want that. I wanted to say I'm normal, right? And I just felt like, do you know what? I'm gonna carry on, and I'm gonna set my new target to 10 and a half stone, because I estimated that would probably get me to that healthy BMI. So that's what the journey I'm on now, and I'm just a tad over 0.1 of a pound over 11 stone. Um, it kind of fluctuates a bit. I might put a bit on over the weekend, lose it, lose more through the week, and then put a bit back on. So it's a kind of slow process now, and I'm kind of estimating that to get that last half a stone, it's probably now going to take me until the start of next year, I would imagine, especially as we've got Christmas in between and things like that. But I'm fine about that, because I'm eating and drinking what I want to eat, right? I don't feel any restriction. If I want a little crunchy, I'll have a little crunchy, right? But I don't have five. I don't eat the whole packet, right? Anymore. I don't want to. And I don't feel like I need to or anything. But so I'm getting used to eating what I want to eat but in moderation. But generally, as I said before, those things that I'm attracted to are much healthier. In terms of
Absolutely.
how confident, so I'm not quite at my target yet. So I'm going to continue on the dose, the dose that I've been on since I kind of titrated up to maximum dose. So I'm going to stay on that until I get to that. But then what I'm working with you guys to do is to get to what is the right balance and what is the right solution for me to sustain this new weight for the rest of my life.
Because that's the most important thing, right?
So what is it? Maybe, so what the journey that I'm intending to go on and what I imagine this journey is going to be is that I will start to reduce the medication levels. And in the same way as I increased the medication levels when I started this, I will reduce them and see how I go. See what I feel like, is am I starting to stuff my face again, for example.
I was going to say, it's almost like you will not know how you feel until you start to come off the medication.
Until I start reducing that medication. And I know that I think there will be a difference, because I notice a difference even now. When I get to day 6, I am hungrier than I am days 1 to 5, right?
Of course.
So there's definitely a thing. And maybe, there is, maybe because I feel like I probably do have something biological that's not creating enough of this hormone, right? And, before, maybe I will need to take a level of this medication for the rest of my life. I don't know. But there have been so many benefits for me personally, that for me, the benefits of this medication far outweigh any of the risks. For me personally, that might not be the same for someone else, but certainly for me. And I've been to speak to my GP about it as well, about what he thinks about this. He thinks it's absolutely fantastic that I've reversed everything. Right, I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. My cholesterol's normal.
See,
my blood
that's
pressure's
incredible,
down.
isn't it? It goes more than just weight loss. It's to do with your whole health. Like, that's incredible.
My arthritis is not as painful. My digestive problems have more or less completely gone away, except when I eat fish and chips, of course. But I just don't have half the ailments that I had before. And then there's all the research that says it reduces the risk of heart disease, of stroke, of all these different cancers. And I just think,
and you think we're still in the very early stages as well. I mean, like, we're still finding out more and more every day. But you said that you'd noticed all of these benefits, and I imagine that this has had an impact on you physically, mentally. Like, how do you feel in yourself since making all of these changes?
I feel like I've just taken 20 years off, right? Even though I've just turned 60. But I feel like, and I felt it last August, I felt about 80, never mind 60, right? Because carrying all this weight, this extra 6 stone, and and all the kind of things and the kind of stress that was putting my body under.
Of course.
I was feeling that ill health, dramatically at that point.
That must have been a hard way to feel for you as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I felt like I was going to burst at any minute. Spontaneously combust, I think. Everything was stretched everywhere. But now I just feel so light and free, and and I love it. I really enjoy exercising and keeping fit now. And we go on walks. We live near the sea, so we go on walks around the sea cliffs and stuff. And we've got these 64 steps that I run up now.
Love that.
So yeah, I just feel I probably, I would say that I actually feel the most physically fit that I felt since my 20s.
That is
definitely.
incredible,
I
Sheila.
know.
I'm very,
Yeah.
very, very pleased to hear that for you. Like
I know.
that's got to
Yeah.
be the best feeling, because it sounds like from what you've said so far, it's not just one thing, it's all these little things. And when they add up, it just adds that value onto your health and your life and, you know, how you feel day to day. So that's really incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We
I
have
mean, it's not
had
cheap, but it's been worth every single penny as far as I'm concerned, right?
your health is your wealth.
I know. I know.
Massive investment, yeah.
So we've had a lot of people saying thank you and thank you for your honesty, and I can definitely second that. It's been really, really great to hear about your story so far. Someone has said about you staying on the injections. So you said that you're going to stay on them for a while. Do you know how long you will plan to stay on them for?
Until I found the right solution for me, right? So I mean, in terms of weight loss, I don't want to, once I get this other half stone off, I don't want to lose any more after that, right?
Of course.
Because I also, right, if anybody's seen Sharon Osbourne lately, my goodness me, I probably shouldn't be naming people on here, but oh my God, she looks skeletal. She looks, you know, she just looks skeletal and she looks ill, and she's just gone, I don't know whether she's just gone too far with it, right? And so there's no way that I ever want to look like that. You know, or
There's a
be,
really fine line, isn't there? I think
yeah,
when the injections first came out, and as a health professional, I've always been very like on the cusp about it, because people take it for the wrong reasons. And, you know, you see it in the headlines, people are taking it purely for aesthetic reasons. And, you know, that's not what it was created for. And as you have literally just said, everything and all the things that you've noticed are to do with your health and, you know, how you're going to feel for the long term, because it's not just about what you look like, it's about how you feel in yourself as well.
it is. It is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the way I look now,
Of
right?
course, of
I
course.
have got a whole new wardrobe, so I've you know,
That's the
am I
best
right?
part, isn't it? Going out and
Oh
getting new
my goodness,
clothes.
I've got I'm one of Vinted's biggest customers in
Oh,
terms of
vintage,
selling all my big
chef's
clothes.
kiss.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
selling all my big clothes and buying a whole new wardrobe. So I bought a load in the summer for my holidays, and now I'm into buying winter stuff and oh, I just love it. Absolutely
Love
love it.
that.
Excellent.
And I think that's the other thing, and Jen, I'm sure you can agree that sometimes we almost like get told off, and as women, for, you know, wanting to like celebrate the way that we look, and like it's okay to want to look good. You know, I think as we were saying with the injections, of course, they're there for our health, but if we're going to lose weight, that can actually boost our confidence. And we did have a question in here, but I think it ties in with something that I really wanted to ask you, because
Yeah, go for
from
it.
what I've seen with members that I've coached, and Jen, it'd be interesting to know if you've noticed this, that people lose a lot of weight and they almost feel like their identity starts to change. That people, as they quote unquote, people say that they lose weight, and, you know, when they had that weight there, it was almost like a blanket, like they were kind of hidden away. And when they do start to lose that weight, they almost, you know, become seen to other people. So it'd be interesting to know if you've noticed that at all.
Is that to me?
Yeah, that's to
Oh,
you.
right. Sorry. I didn't know whether you were directing that to Jen or
No,
to
no, no,
me.
that's, yeah, no,
Sorry,
that's
Gemma.
you.
I can go
Sorry.
fine.
Yeah, well, do you know what? People look at you different. People treat you differently. They do, right? So because when you're big, you know, and you're overweight, people think you're just lazy and greedy, and you know, they kind of
It's not the
like,
case.
no, I know, and that's why. I mean, at first, right, I didn't tell many people I was on this, right? Because there is a bit of a kind of like there is a bit of a shaming culture, like you're cheating or something like that, taking this medication. And then
And this
I
is why
kind of
we're
like,
doing these
I
Q&As,
know,
because we want people to change their perception of that for
I
sure.
know, it's crazy. And then I kind of thought I got a bit indignant about it then. And I thought, no, right? The research is saying that obesity is a chronic health condition, right? This is not, it's not just us being lazy and greedy and things. There is something biologically not quite right for us that are holding all this weight. And we need some help. If you know, you wouldn't think you were cheating, you know, to bring your blood pressure down if you were taking that, or think you were cheating to take, you know, diabetic medication or, you know, any other chronic condition, asthma, for example. I'm an asthmatic as well. So, these things, I wouldn't think I were cheating because I were taking medication to treat those conditions. So why did I feel like that? And it's all this kind of like public and social opinion around,
and a lot of
this.
stigma as well. There's a lot of
Yeah,
stigma.
yeah, so yes, I definitely feel different, and I do get, yeah, much to my husband's right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you've got a fine looking woman there. He got when we went out last time, right? So yeah, no, it's very nice. It's very, very flattering. But the health things, the health thing is the key thing for me. I want to be around for a long time for my grandsons, right?
I love that.
So yeah, I knew I had to do something.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there by like that actually it shouldn't be something to be shameful of. And I'm sure some people that are on the call tonight saw your interview on This Morning. I watched it. I thought it was brilliant. The fact that you did actually say, look, it's a chronic illness, and people
Yeah.
they shouldn't be feeling ashamed that they're getting some support out there with it. And I can honestly say you've been an inspiration to so many people that I've coached since that interview. Like I've been in contact with them, and they've said, "Oh yes, I watched Sheila on This Morning, and like she made me sign up." And like I just wanted to say like thank you on behalf of so many people, because I think your like honesty and your frankness about it, and I think it's a northern thing. I'm very proud of that.
Oh, a spade's a spade where I come from.
Exactly.
Right. There's no airs and graces, and just, yeah, tell it how it is. But thank you for feeding that back, and I'm honoured to be an inspiration, and that's why I'm happy to speak about it. Right. I'm happy to speak. I'm happy to share anything, right, about this journey if it helps. Right. Because, one of my things in life, I mean, one of the companies, the company that I kind of founded was all about trying to change the way we handle death, because I'd had a bad experience through death, and I want to make a difference in that space. But it's the same with this. I want to make a difference for people. If I can help, and if I can make a difference to someone else, and help them, go for it, or not be scared of doing it, then that makes me happy. I'm chuffed to bits about that.
Love that. They always say, even if you've helped one person, that's still one person that
Yeah.
you've helped.
So
Yeah.
And speaking of helping one person, we've had quite a few comments about people asking about side effects. So I wondered, have you had any side effects? Do you get any side effects since being on the medication?
Yeah. We did talk about a lot about the benefits. There is a few downsides. One of them for me, at first I did get a bit of nausea at first, until my body got used to the medication.
Yeah.
But it didn't last long, and it wasn't debilitating or anything. I just felt a bit icky, right, at first. So it was all manageable. And often, and sometimes I still feel a bit icky now. It's not bad or anything, but some mornings I might think, I don't feel a bit icky. But then I might eat something and I feel better then, right? Like you said about the morning sickness thing, I think, there could possibly be, a little bit of that in there. My body needed something. So hence then I felt better. But so nausea a little bit, indigestion if you eat the wrong things, right? I just don't think, because of the impact that and the way that it's operating with your digestive system, and as you said, Jen, it slows the whole thing down, which was good for me, right? Because my digestive problems were the fact that it was in overdrive, right? It was absolutely in overdrive. So the really good thing for me is the impact that this slowing down has had. However, because of that, you just cannot eat what all the starchy, carby, fried stuff that you might have ate before, because that will make you feel ill. And it's made me, and hence it did me when I had those, fish and chips. There is, I have indigestion, right? Not all the time. Again, it's linked to what I've eaten, probably, or what I've drunk. I'm drinking this kind of like, Barley's lemon juice at the moment in my water. And I can feel at the moment, I'm thinking, I'm going to stop drinking that. I'm getting a bit of indigestion. However, I had indigestion before, and a lot of people who carry lots of weight do, and have digestive problems, right? And I got prescribed omeprazole or lansoprazole from the GP, and so I've always got that in. So I often, just take one of those, especially if a glass of wine, right? Because I still do, like I say, I do like a glass of wine, and just not as much as I used to. So that's another one, is indigestion. And then another one that I've had, however, I have had it on other weight loss programs where I've lost a lot of weight, is hair loss, right? So and I still do get that. Now, I've been fortunate enough that I had quite a lot of hair when I started. So although it's a lot thinner now, it, touch wood, still looks okay, right? But I still
gorgeous.
do. Yeah, I still do. When I get in the shower, I can feel it coming out. Not in massive big clumps, but more than what you would normally get. So there's some hair loss. And then one that kind of kicked in only after I'd been on the medication, probably about a year. Night sweats came back. Not again, not, so they're not unbearable, they're not, but yeah, so I sometimes get night sweats. And one I actually forgot about just then was migraines. So I track, and even when I started the medication, I tracked my migraines. I also tracked any digestive problems that I had, which calmed down.
It's a good idea to keep a track on everything.
So and I still track if I get a hormone. I've just got a little, that's just my to-do app in my phone. I just put a note of when I've had this kind of thing. And I don't know whether it's caused by the medication, because I used to get them before.
I was going to say, did you have anything like hair loss or migraines before?
I probably had more than I would have, but now it's kind of settled down. I probably have one a month, but they're not, again, they're all manageable for me, and they're not all coming at once. So I'm kind of like, in a hot sweat with a migraine and indigestion, and and my hair's coming out,
feel like a hot mess.
yeah. So it's kind of like, it's all at different times, and none of it kind of like, stops me from doing anything. I mean, I might sit down with my eyes closed for half an hour if I've had a migraine, because for me, the way they come, my eyes go, but I don't often get the awful debilitating headache. So luckily, I'm lucky with it like that. But yeah, so that's it, and it's all that, they're all what I would say manageable. They don't stop me from doing anything at all, and the benefits that I've got are just way outbalance any of those things that I've had in terms of.
That's good to hear.
It's really good. And I just want to say, like, on the side effects, everything that you've said then are like the most common ones that we see.
I was going to say, Jen, what are the most common side effects that you've noticed?
Personally, I would probably say the ones that get reported to me the most are things like nausea, diarrhea, constipation. Literally, like one day you can be constipated, the next day diarrhea, tiredness, and probably say fatigue. So a lot of people feel really kind of fatigued. But what we would probably say is that there's a reason for all of these side effects. So the main common one for fatigue, we would probably say, is, are you eating enough? So and I don't know if you found this, Sheila, but literally going from kind of the habits you used to have and then starting the medication, which can in some people completely take their appetite away. And maybe years ago, obviously, like the advice was to eat little and then you'll lose weight. So it can be still into people's minds to think, oh, I'm not even thinking about food. That food noise is gone. It's revolutionary for me, so I'm not going to eat. But this is one thing that Second Nature really does well, I think, is to support you to make sure that you are sleeping enough, to ensure that you don't get fatigued. And as you rightly said, Sheila, as well, it's interesting that you said actually when you feel nauseous, sometimes you just need to eat something because it can be a sign of low blood sugar. So we would always say try and eat, and this is what we say in the Second Nature program, like within 5 hours. Don't go without 5 hours because then that's when you kind of feel a bit more nauseous. Again, very much like pregnancy sickness, it can be there. So just to look after yourself as much as possible. And also we've covered as well that side effects can be caused by things that we eat and drink. So another side effect actually is sulfur burps. Some people do mention that they do get kind of like sulfur burps, and things like fizzy drinks can cause that, or really spicy, like fatty food. So what we would do is that if somebody was to get side effects, then we would always encourage you to speak to us. If there was any case of what you would think was moderate to severe, we would really urge you to contact us, and we would contact your pharmacist straight away if it was in working hours. If anybody is more interested in the side effects and are they safe, I actually did a webinar about a month ago, and you can find that on our YouTube channel and on our webinar page as well. It just talks more in depth about it. So if anybody does kind of want more information, then we can signpost you to that.
Perfect.
And one thing I'd like to add to that, Jen, if that's okay, is hydration as well, right? Because it doesn't just take the food noise away. It takes. I've not been. A lot of the time, I have to really consciously. I used to drink lots and lots of water to keep myself full before, right? Thinking, oh, I'll have water instead of something to eat, kind of thing. But now, because that none of that there's no noise at all, it kind of like I have to consciously actively think, oh, I haven't had a drink, I haven't had a drink of water, I need to drink of water. And I know I get very tired if I'm not hydrated, because I do, and you've got to be careful, haven't you, about your electrolytes and things. I mean, I do,
especially if you're prone to migraines as well. I've got to be hydrated.
Yeah, so I do take some electrolyte kind of powder stuff in water and stuff like that as well, to try and keep that hydration up.
It's just also made me think of another question about the food noise in general. When you find yourself, when you do eventually start to kind of lower the medication and you do go down in the dosages, is there anything that you think we could be doing at Second Nature to help you like promote a healthier relationship with that food noise, so that when you come off the medication, you're ready and prepared for that?
I think it's going to be very personal, right, about how to manage that. I think water might be one of them, right? I think, that might be that.
Do you mean in terms of getting rid of that genuine hunger feeling?
Yeah. I'm interested to find out, right, when I go on this journey, how big that voice comes back.
Of course. Because
right.
like we said at the beginning, you're not going to know until
you try
happens,
it,
really.
until you try it. And maybe, and a lot of the times when I've lost a lot of this weight before, right, there's this, I don't know whether you've done any webinars on this, on the set point theory, Jen, or but that set point thing really resonated with me too, actually, because
one of the biggest articles, one of our most popular articles on the program.
Yeah, because honestly, I until I kind of like, researched it and read about that and everything, I couldn't understand why I could lose all this weight, and then, a lot of my friends, they might put half a stone on their holidays, but then straight away when they come home, they get it back off again, because that's their set point. They're half a stone, that they've put on, they need to get it off and get it back to where their normal weight is, right? Mine was 6 stone, right? So I'd lose, and get down to 11 stone, but there were no then. Suddenly I'm back up at 17 stone and I've got another 6 stone on again. And it's like my body was naturally, my body's set point was seven, just short of 17 stone. And no matter what I did to try and fight against that and to get it lower, it wanted to take me back. And it wanted to take me back there. And I think that's because that's the longest I've ever been. That's what it felt like my natural weight was, because it had been the longest in that weight. Right. I don't know whether that's the theory or that's how it actually,
no, that does,
the research
makes
saying.
a lot of sense.
But and I'd never maintained the weight at any of those at that lower weight. I'd never maintained it long enough for that set point to reset. Yeah. And so what I am hoping we can test by going on this journey
is that you've been on that weight for that long.
Is that this set point for me will have reset. Because, I'll have been at this nice, healthy weight for much longer. And
that will be a very interesting theory.
I know.
We'll
so
have to keep you along the journey the whole way.
That's what I'm wanting the support from, from Second Nature. I want Second Nature to support me to get to that point where I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about putting, I'm confident I can keep it off.
Do you think you could have got to where you are today without the help of Second Nature?
No.
Gosh.
No.
Wow.
I mean, I not in the healthy way that I feel that I've done it now and where I am now. Or I could go to the online pharmacies and buy the medication right now. I know I can do that, right? But I couldn't have, and I have to be honest, 16 months in, I don't do the daily videos and I don't don't fill in my food journal, and I don't, but I did it. I did it when I started, and that kind of really helped me get into a really nice rhythm, set my new habits, set what I'm eating, so all those things of kind of like are in there, and they feel pretty natural to me now. Yeah. Whether they will when the medication starts going down again, it's going to be trial and error, try to understand that.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I just feel very supported with Second Nature, and the fact that, we've got the medical support team, we've got the coaches that we can go to, but like I say, 16 months in, I really have made use of that over the first 12 months, I would say.
What were the standout points for you with the program? What have you enjoyed the most of being on Second Nature, apart from being on the medication?
I loved all the little kind of like learning bits, all the little videos and stuff. I used to do it while I was walking or at the gym,
Love that.
listen to them and stuff. So yeah, I like all those kind of things. And I did learn quite a lot as well. I mean, I thought I knew everything, to be fair, after dieting for donkey's years. But yeah, all this new stuff, all this research about
every day is a learning day. Yeah, I know. It really is.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I've just been, I've loved it. And I recommend it to lots of people now, of course.
Thank you, Sheila.
Despite, like I say, it being more expensive than others, I do think if you're looking for a long-term solution, if you just want a quick fix, then obviously the online pharmacies are maybe, the most effective way. But if you want to get this off and keep it off, then, that's why I'm in it and invest in, in it.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Sheila. And we have had some more questions come in. We've had a few around, this is quite a personal one, so if you don't feel comfortable answering, please don't have to. About saggy skin, and if you've noticed any difference in your skin since losing the weight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't carry an extra 6 stone and then take it away. At my age anyway, right? You know, at 60 years old, you just haven't got the kind of elasticity in your skin for it to kind of like jump back. But I don't think that's anything to do with the medication itself. I think it's just the extent of the weight loss. And I think, you know, if I'd just done it with something like Lighter Life, for example, I think I would have probably got the same amount of saggy skin. So yes, I've got horrible bat wings. I've got it's not all off my tummy yet. I mean, no, my tummy's a kind of big one. But do you know what? On my holidays this year, I wore a bloody bikini and I did not care.
That's what we love to hear.
I did not care. And,
good.
You know, so, there is some, you know, on my legs. And yeah, it's not great. But I'm thinking, I don't bloody care, right? I'm 60 now. Who am I? I'm not, you know, pretending I'm some kind of model type or anything like that. I look good with my clothes on. I don't look, you know, I probably don't look fantastic in my bikini, but I don't care. I'm doing it anyway. And
it's all about perception and how you feel in yourself, no matter what size you are.
I honestly, you know, what I feel good, and you know, if other people you know, don't like what they see, then don't look, right?
It's a good attitude to have.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
Great
yeah. So
love it.
So yes, I have got saggy skin, unfortunately, but I ain't going to do anything about it because I feel like, nah, yeah, I'm not trying to be, no. But I'm a bit of a grow old disgracefully type.
Grow old disgrace. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And someone's asked as well about Christmas coming up. Obviously, we know Christmas festive season is hard. Probably like some people think it's the worst time to start a program like this. From your experience, and same with Jen, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Do you think that Christmas is a good time to start a program like this with the weight loss injections, or just start with Second Nature in general?
It depends what you want, right? If you want to go and do a big blowout and, you know, stuff your face and drink till you're silly, then I would say no, don't start the program, right? But if you want to, you know, not lose another 6 weeks on this journey that you might be starting, then I would say do it. I mean, I continued last Christmas. I mean, I'd only been on it since August at that point. And last Christmas, I didn't stop the medication or anything. And I haven't stopped the medication when I've gone on holiday either. So yeah, you can't eat like you used to. You can't drink like you used to. But I felt like I wasn't deprived in any way. I had a bit of everything that everybody else had. I even had chocolate, and I even had, you know, wine, Christmas
You were
cake.
still able to enjoy yourself just a little bit less than you would have maybe
Yeah, but I
beforehand.
didn't eat until I couldn't move, like I probably would, you know, on a normal Christmas. So it depends what your personal situation is. Do you want to get started, and do you want to get moving, and do you want to kind of like, you know,
do you know what?
feel
Sometimes
better?
I think actually throwing yourself in the deep end in a challenging time can actually make it so much easier for you, because you get started in the challenging time and then you come into an easier point and then it kind of flows from there. But that's just my personal opinion as a coach. So yeah, I think it can just work depending on who the person is and how they feel and what they want to achieve. Just looked at the time, so that hour has gone very, very, very quickly. A huge thank you, Sheila. Thank you to everyone for joining. Thank you, Jen, for your input. It's been fantastic. Speaking of Christmas, we do have a Christmas webinar coming up soon. I'm going to pop a link in the chat where you can register, and you can also register for Sheila's next Q&A, where you'll be joining us again on the 10th of December, and we will be very excited to have you back. But no, thank you very, very much for tonight. It's been so useful, so insightful, and I hope the people listening have found it helpful too.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I've loved it. And if it's helped anyone on this call, then I am just a happy bunny. And I'm now off to get a glass of wine. Right.
But I did want to say, if anybody does have any questions or anything, feel free to go to our website, do the online quiz if you haven't done so already, or you can drop customer support a line. We're more than happy to help or answer any questions. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed tonight.
We've just had a comment come in saying thank you. You are amazing.
Oh,
lovely way to wrap up.
Thank you for listening, everybody. I've loved it.
It's been a pleasure. Have a nice evening, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.